All right, for those of you on this other video, I'm recording this as well for YouTube. So we're doing a live Q&A on Facebook, and I'm gonna record this and put it on YouTube. If that makes sense. So
Javier says, "Welcome home, my brother. Good to see you."
yeah, good to see everybody else. I've seen a lot of people so far, but there's a few people I haven't seen. So looking forward to making the rounds and meeting everybody again and saying hi, and so trying to adjust to civilian life, if you will. Being off the trail is tough. It's different. Not tough. It's just easier, but it's different. Being able to eat the food you want to eat and have a bathroom and a bed to sleep in and chairs and couches to lay on. It's just strange, and having food at your access. So I've enjoyed it.
So what we'll do is we'll take questions from the live group as they happen. We also have some questions from Ryan's Facebook post. Yeah. And then we have a list of questions, and I don't remember who asked all of those, but we'll try to get through as many as we can. So can you see them, or you want me to read them?
So for the first, Krispy Kreme donuts. I've only had 2 Krispy Kreme donuts since I got back because I actually had a bunch of donuts the day we flew in. I had 4 Dunkin' Donuts right before we got on the plane. So when I got back, I didn't really feel like any more bread. So I bypassed them at night, even though we were supposed to go when we landed to Krispy Kreme. They don't have a Krispy Kreme up there. The nearest one was in where? Connecticut?
No. Yeah, I think Connecticut.
So it was a good ways away. So I just planned on getting some when I got back. I got some Sunday morning. I had 2 donuts. So that was nice to have some kind of Krispy Kreme.
Nicole wants to know what's the first thing you ate.
On trail?
No, I think she means when you got back.
Oh, I got back? What was the first thing we ate? Lobster dinner. Lobster mac and cheese was our first official meal together. Went to this restaurant. They had lobster mac and cheese, and Kelly had this really amazing salad. She's been dreaming about this salad too. Tell me what's in that salad.
It was like a butternut roasted squash salad, but I don't think anyone cares about that. Taylor wants to know, how was it? How was your trip?
Trip was awesome. It was very, very difficult as far as the trip goes. When I first started this, I thought the trail was going to be hard because the miles. I thought the 2,194 miles is what made it tough, but it's the terrain and the miles and just the mental stress of it. It just wears on you day after day, knowing you have to get up and hike. And it's really, really hard. Physically, mentally, just a lot of stress on you. You can't really relax because you're always on this deadline. You got to push to get there. So it's really, really tough.
So before we jump into the rest of the questions, just give everyone an overview of what is this video about, why are you doing a video, what did you accomplish, something like that.
So this video is just going to be a question and answer video about what I've done on the trip, what I've learned, any questions I might not have answered on YouTube. A lot of my followers have posted questions. I try to answer them on YouTube best I can, but if there's some I missed or something you wondered about, no matter what the question is, feel free to ask it. I'll answer it best I can. And what else did you say?
So just like what did you do? Like what is this about? This is about the Appalachian Trail hike.
Yeah, it's about the Appalachian Trail hike and how it went. Things I ate. Started April 1st. It ended September 26th when I finished. Was it 26th?
I think so.
I think it was 176 days total what it took me. And that's with only, I took 5 days off in Damascus. I took 4 days off in New York and 2 or 3 more zeros or so. But pretty much the rest of it's hiking every single day, 15 miles a day or more, usually up to 18. I tried to at least push it to that. So.
All right, well, let's just start asking questions.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so first question from your post was from Danny R. Maxwell. He said he's followed your post. He's not sure if he's going to make it to the live Q&A, but he wants to know, what did you carry as food to eat regularly in between the places that you stopped to eat? Was there anything regular that you carried?
I always had candy bars. I always had my right pouch in my pocket. I always had at least like 6 or 8 candy bars, usually with Snickers. Snickers is a huge hiker favorite because they're high calorie and energy. And especially if I had a big climb coming up, I would try to eat a Snickers bar or eat something with these Stroop waffles. You can get them at REI. They're delicious. They're really high energy. Something with high calories and sugar I try to eat as far as between hikes and between lunches and meals. I ate that. As far as meals go, I ate the dehydrated meals at the beginning because they were lightweight. But as I went on the trail, I did away with those. I just made my own meals on trail. I had mashed potatoes every night just about, or ramen noodles. I had tuna packets for lunch, the chicken packets, and pulled pork. I alternated between all three of those. Kind of switched it up so it wasn't so boring. I always put that on a tortilla. And every day for lunch, I always had some kind of cookies or crackers or combos were a huge favorite on the trail. Eat a lot of those. I would also eat a lot of candy when I was hiking, like Starburst or Lifesavers, just anything, lollipops, gum, anything like that. I could just keep in your mouth and keep you going, and just a little bit of energy it gives you, not much. But chocolate was my probably number one go-to, I would say.
So you need to go to the dentist, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Second question from Danny Maxwell was, what kind of bedding and covering did you carry, and how did you provide for protection during rainfall?
Type of bedding I carry. I had a sleeping bag, which is a 30-degree REI Magma bag, and it did really well. It's 100% down, and I had a liner to go with that. It was a reactor liner, and that supposedly adds 15 degrees to your bag. She's gonna get the charger here. It's about to die.
Keep going.
But anyway, I had my liner with my bag, and that really helped a lot. But also, I had a sleeping pad called Sleep and Go. It's a blow-up pad that you air up, and I think it only costs like $15 off Amazon, and it's only about maybe like 1.5 to 2 inches thick.
I think it was $30.
$30. Well, anyway. So. And it lasted pretty much the whole entire through hike. For $15, I was really impressed. But the last like 2-3 weeks of the trail, it started getting a flat in it. Every night it would start to go low, and I'd have to stop and air it up each time. But for the price, I was really impressed, because there's people on trail, multiple people, that had the $200 air mattresses, the Nemos, and this and that. And they all had pops in theirs to go completely flat. So I was really blessed that my cheap air pad lasted. And as far as other sleeping gear, that's really all I brought for sleeping.
Rain. How do you protect yourself from rain?
And for the rain, I started out with Frog Togs, the jacket and the pants. The Frog Togs work really well, keeping out the wind. But the downside is when you hike in those things, you sweat like crazy. You get really sweaty. And it's just hard to, you're either wet on the outside or wet on the inside from the sweat. So it's one or the other, you're wet regardless. So halfway through the hike, Birdie's mom Misha sent me a Frog Togs poncho, and that was amazing. I wore that a lot because it did a lot better job of keeping you dry. Only downfall of the poncho is all the water runs off the poncho and soaks your pants from the waist down. So everything from the knee down is waterlogged. Other than that, though, it works great. I had rain, I think maybe 6 or 8 times, or give or take, maybe 10. I'm not sure exactly the count. I have to go back and watch the videos to remember, but when it does rain, it's miserable. Sloshing through the mud and just the cold temperatures. Birdie, you know exactly what it's like. And it's just awful.
Well, speaking of Brody and Misha, Misha is Brody's mom. Her question was, what surprised you the most about the adventure? What was the biggest challenge? And we'll start with that, and then I'll ask the next question.
What surprised me the most was the difficulty of it. When I first got on this trail, and I've been thinking, my goodness, what have I got myself into? This thing is insanely hard. Who designed this freaking trail? It's ridiculous. It was just awful how hard it was. I wanted to quit from day one when I first started hiking because it was so hard. Honestly, I hated it so much. I'm thinking, man, I got to quit and do this. But then I started thinking, people are watching me, following me. I can't just quit and give it up. I got to stick this out. So I stuck it out. But that's what surprised me the most, was the difficulty of it. And people don't realize that till you get out there. You just can't watch a video and get the idea of what it's like until you actually do it. It's really hard.
Well, Misha also wanted to know, was there a day that you would consider your most difficult day that stands out?
My most difficult day would probably be the day that I did Mahoosic Notch and Mahoosic Arm. That's in New Hampshire. And that is the area where it's got these big, huge house-sized boulders and semi-truck-sized boulders. They're all just kind of laying on top of each other. And you got to crawl over and under them. And that's like a 1.5 miles, but it takes you about 2 hours to do this 1.5 miles section. It's because it's so difficult and climbing involved. And after you finish that, there's called the Mahoosic Arm. It's the steepest mile of the trail. And for a good solid mile, you're going up really steep terrain. And it's just hard to picture in your mind what it's actually like until you do it. And you get to the end of the day and you're just exhausted. You only done maybe 8 miles, but it feels like you've done 25 because you're so tired. It's super hard.
Well, Misha also wanted to know, is there a day that stands out as your favorite day?
Believe it or not, Mahoosic Notch was my favorite. I enjoyed it. Even though it was tough, the hardest part is the Mahoosic Arm, but going through all those boulders, those technical climbs, I really like that. I have really 3 that stand out in my mind besides that are really fun. I enjoyed Mahoosic Notch, which is climbing under and over the boulders. That's my probably all-time favorite. I also liked a place called Lehigh Gap. It's big boulders you climb up as well. And Mount Katahdin was really a fun climb, believe it or not. Even though it was cold, there's a lot of bouldering and climbing in that. It was quite fun.
All right, Aunt Elamay wants to know, would you do it again, and would you take a buddy with you?
I would never, ever, 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 ever do the AT again. But that's just because how difficult it was and the climbing involved. I don't know if you know this or not, but the AT, there's so much gain and loss of elevation. You go up and down, up and down, up and down the whole time. You do enough gain and loss of elevation to summit Mount Everest. I think it's 16 times, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they say. And so that's what makes it really, really tough. And what was the question again? I forgot.
Would you take a buddy with you?
So I wouldn't do it again, but I might do a section of it again, just with a friend or something. If they want to go, they want to try it, I might go with them, do like a little week or a few day thing just to do that. But definitely I would probably take somebody with me because it's a lot more fun. You have somebody to talk to for one. It gets really boring out there during the day, nothing to do, just hiking, looking at the trees, and that gets old really, really quick. So definitely someone that goes with you really adds to the experience. You can share it with them. You can talk about your plans, what you want to do in town, or just carry on a conversation. Makes the day go so much better when you have somebody to share it with.
I think you already answered Patrick's question. How much Krispy Kreme have you had since you got back? You already answered that, right?
Yeah, I just had 2 donuts so far.
Taylor wants to know, did you eat at all on the trip?
Eat what?
Did you eat at all?
On the trip, yes. A lot of times.
You're supposed to eat about 4,000 calories a day, I think.
4,000 or 5,000 calories, that's what you burn through. And you can't eat that much on the trail. Physically, it's almost impossible to carry that much food and eat that much calories. You're constantly burning through these calories left and right, so you can't really get enough food in you. You eat and eat and eat. There's a thing called hiker hunger, and it's true. You're literally like a starvation mode because your body is burning all the fat reserves it has, and you can't replenish those on trail. And so you're just constant state of hunger. You stop for a minute, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm starving this. What do I get in my pack to eat? And you're pulling this, I eat that, and like, man, I'm still hungry. Like when I got to town, I ate a whole pizza by myself. I had 12 pancakes by myself and sausage and eggs at one sitting. It's just amazing how much your body can eat, but your body's craving these calories, and it craves things you can't get on trail, like fresh fruit. I didn't like fruit before the trail. I never ate fruit hardly at all, but on the trail, I would crave blueberries, I would crave bananas and oranges, and just fruit that you can't have.
Makes sense. Nicole wants to know, what's the most important survival equipment that you had with you?
Survival equipment? Oh man, that's hard to say. I would have to say just my jacket. I would assume, because without a good jacket or way to keep warm, you're in trouble. If you get wet and you get cold and you don't have a way to warm up, that's a dangerous situation. So I always try to make sure at camp, when I got there at night, I had some kind of dry clothes to put on, whether it was either just a shirt and shorts or some kind of dry jacket that I could wear at nighttime to get warm, or just get my sleeping bag and just hurry and get warm. Some nights it's 20 degrees outside and you're sweat from hiking, but as soon as you stop, you start to cool off really quick. And you start shivering and your fingers don't cooperate. You're getting so cold. So I'd have to say the jacket, in my opinion, would have to be the #1 survival gear. I did bring a knife and stuff, but I don't really consider that survival gear because I didn't really use it much on the trail. Yeah. I could have left it at home, really. I used it maybe twice.
Yeah. Well, I think this is Frank, but he wants to know, what was it that you accomplished out of the whole deal? Like, what do you feel like you accomplished?
That's hard to say. What did I accomplish on the trail? I think it's just a sense of self-confidence. All my life, to be perfectly honest with you, I've quit a bunch of things. I remember in high school, I quit football practice because it was hard. I quit this because that was hard. I quit track in high school because it was hard, and I all the running. And so I always wanted to test myself and see if I could do this. And there's always a lingering thought in your mind, can I actually make this happen? Can I do it? And there's always that little doubt that, no, you can't do this. It's too hard for you. You're going to quit like you did everything else. And so I wanted to keep going and push myself and see if I could actually do it. And I did it. But it was only because of you guys' support and Kelly's support and not giving up, being determined, and just forcing myself to stick it out.
I've heard you say that a few times. If it wasn't for the people, encouraging you and cheering you on, you don't think you would have made it. So I think that definitely makes a big difference, having a strong support system.
And it does feel really good once you reach that sign and you touch that sign, you look back over the trail of what you've done, the accomplishment that you've done, the hiking 2,194 miles, and it's almost seems surreal in your mind. You're like, wow, I did it. I really, really did this. I can't believe it. And it's still to this day, you look back and watch these videos and talk to people, I'm thinking, that's me they're talking about. I actually did that.
That's pretty cool. Jessica wants to know, how many different states did you travel through?
14. The AT goes through 14 different states. It starts in Georgia, then it goes to North Carolina, then it goes to Tennessee, then it goes to Virginia, then West Virginia, then I forgot what's after that. Pennsylvania, I think it is. Then it goes to Connecticut, Maryland, New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Maine, and Vermont too.
Yeah, Vermont was somewhere in there.
I named them all. Not in that quite order, but you can look it up online and it'll show you the exact trail it goes to. It's 14 states though I hiked through.
I know it's weird. Some of the states it skips because it kind of like zigzags around. So we were confused. Like, it doesn't go through South Carolina.
Yeah, it's weird.
How'd you get to? We didn't know geography very well. How'd you get to North Carolina if you didn't go through South Carolina? Okay, Linda wants to know, what's the easiest state and the hardest?
Easiest state in my mind is Maryland. And it's only like a day, maybe 2 days tops. You go through the whole thing. And I say that because it's one of the flattest states. In my mind, it was easy. Plus, it was beautiful. All their campgrounds are manicured. They all have picnic tables and fire rings and benches at them. They have showers and bathrooms with flushing toilets. And so that was the easiest state for me. I loved it there, Maryland. Hardest state is by far Maine. It's a toss-up between between Maine and New Hampshire, which is the toughest. But I think after doing it, I would say Maine is definitely the toughest. They say the southern part of Maine is the toughest and it gets easier, but I thought the 100-mile wilderness was still pretty tough, even though I did it in 4.5 days. I thought it was still quite a chore to even get through Maine. And I would rather go hike New Hampshire over Maine again, because New Hampshire at least has better views than Maine does. I thought it did anyway.
So Joy Stacy wants to know, did you, and you said they could ask anything.
Yeah.
So she said it's a little bit personal, but did at any point you seriously consider ending your hike?
Yes, a whole bunch of times. No, I'm not kidding. Every single day I thought about quitting. And then I would get a text from somebody and they would say, my family is really pulling for you. You're an inspiration to my family. And I would read a text like that and it was like, man, I can't quit because people are actually supporting me and doing this. I would really let them down if I did that. And so that's what really kept me going, to be honest with you. But what was one before this? What's that question?
Oh, that was Joy.
Was there more to it?
No, that was it. She was just saying, sorry.
But as far as terrain goes, when I got to Virginia, when Birdie was with me, that's when the terrain really started getting hard for me, was in Virginia. And Birdie can tell you this, that Virginia is not easy. I was told Virginia was flat. It is not flat by any means.
You think they were joking, like whoever said that?
I don't know. I heard a lot of lies in this trail, and none of them are true. And so when you get these ideas in your mind of what the trail is going to be like, you have a perception that it's going to be flat, and you get there, and it's such a disappointment. And when you're going through these huge climbs, your body is just so beat down and worn out, you want to quit so bad. But then you get these words of encouragement, it kind of cancels that out and helps you have strength to go on.
Trying to move your other camera so you're not looking at the side of your face.
That's good, yes.
When you're doing YouTube
That's
video. Okay, so Cheryl wants to know, your cousin Cheryl wants to know, do you think you could have done more training or hikes with weight to maybe help, or was it just hard, period?
I've heard people say you can go on hikes to get your body built up for it, but literally, I've talked to people who did work out on trail prior to this, and they say it doesn't even help because the trail, there's nothing like it. There's no way to physically train your body to meet the demands of the trail. If you go to a gym and put on the Stairmaster and put on the highest incline you can get, and then put like a 40-pound pack on your back and do that for 4 to 6 hours a day, even that does not compare you for the trail because it's different elevations and heights. The steps are some places 10 inches apart, some places 2 foot apart, and that big distance and climbing up and down, and you just can't compare with the temperatures. Cold one day, hot the next, raining this day, snowing that day. All that combined just really just wears on your body. And so I think if you did train, it would help a bit, but not enough to where you get it into a trail is going to be easy for you. It's still going to be hard no matter what you do. Even if you're in top physical condition. I don't know if you know this, but there's guys who go and do this trail for record purposes. They try to break the record. Even those guys are in super physical condition. Even for them, it's really, really tough, and they train hard. So I don't think even if you worked out every day, it would be easier. It's still going to be tough for you.
Jerry says carbs.
Yes, and thank you to Jared. I was in McAfee Knob. I was getting ready to climb that the night before, and Jared called me or texted me, and I was telling him I just had no energy and doing these climbs. I would just have to stop and just felt like I was about to pass out. And he said, "Are you getting enough carbs?" And he told me about carbs, how carbs are vital to your body, and you have to have these carbs to keep going. And so I started listening to that advice. I started eating more carbs, and I was just blown away how much more energy I would have. If I eat better, the climbs got easier. Especially in the morning time, if I ate a really good breakfast like eggs and pancakes and sausage, the climbs were like 10 times easier. And it took me forever to really get that through my head. This stupid idiot think you got to eat before you climb. And some mornings I didn't want to eat, but I had to force myself to when I wasn't hungry because you got to have it. You got to have these carbs. Carbs are key in this trail. You need all the carbs you can get. You can't get enough carbs.
So Brody said his sleeping pad also finally has a leak in it.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry to hear that, Birdie. Hope you can get that fixed or get a replacement or something. I know what that's like on trail.
Jared wants to know: do you have a favorite memory?
Oh, favorite! There's so many different places. A favorite memory I would have to say, or a favorite place so far, is a place called Max Patch in North Carolina. It's about a mile long wide mountaintop, perfectly flat. As a matter of fact, if you want to go there, you can drive to it without hiking there. There's a parking lot right there, maybe like a quarter-mile walk, if that. But it's this beautiful 360 panoramic view, and it's just gorgeous up there. That's probably one of my favorite memories because when I got up there and seen that view, this beautiful grassy spot, I was able to stop and have lunch. It just really stands out as one of my favorite parts of the trail until I got to New Hampshire and then went to Franconia Ridge, and it's just as beautiful and a lot higher up. But those panoramic scenic views are really what stands out in my mind as the favorite parts of the trail.
So this next question, Jessica asked this question, Crystal asked this question. It's the most asked question I think that I got when you were gone was, what made you want to do this trail?
Okay, I had this trail planned back in 2010 to do this trail. I had a boat back then. I sold my boat. I was going to use all the money to go on this trail. I was a school bus driver for Orange County at the time, and the goal was to start at Katahdin and go southbound for 3 months. Since I had summers off, I was going to go as far as I could, and just financially everything fell through. I remember what it was, you remember, but financially we just wasn't able to do it, and so I kind of put it on the back burner and thought this would never happen. And what did you tell me that yesterday? We were talking about this. We were talking about this in the car.
Oh yeah, you tried to say I made you do it, and I said no. I said, if you want to do it, just plan it and just do it. And now is the best time because you can afford to do it, sort of. And your body still sort of works. So you shouldn't wait too long. You wouldn't be able to do it.
Exactly. So I just we were talking about this, and I said, I'd like to do this. She said, if you want to do it, you can do it. And I said, really? If you're serious, I'll go do this. And so I really wanted just to challenge myself. I knew this was a hard trail. I wanted to see if physically I could do it, mentally I could do it. And I told you before, I quit a bunch of stuff in the past. I wanted to see if I physically was able to put myself mentally through this task and complete something and not quit on it.
And you did it. We're
Yes.
proud of you. All right, so Crystal also wants to know, and Kim sort of wants to know the similar question, but Crystal's question is, do you want to do any more adventures? And Kim's question is, would you do another trail? So you can answer both that together.
Yes, I would definitely want to do more adventures. I want to go do the John Muir Trail. It's on or part of the Pacific Crest Trail out in California. And it goes through the high Sierras. It's about 230 miles long, which you can do in like a month or so, maybe less. And it's supposed to be a lot better terrain. From what I understand anyway, it's graded for horses, so it's not as steep. So it's more gradual. So I want to go out there and do that trail. But again, I would like to section hike things. I don't want to go out there and just force myself to go on these through hikes. I want to do the PCT, which is longer than the AT, but it's easier, a lot easier. People I know that have done it, they said it's 10 times easier than the AT. So in the future, I'd like to do the PCT, but not right now, not for a long, long time. And if I do, I'm just going to section hike them because I think section hiking is the way to go. You can take your time, you can enjoy the trail without having to time crunch. You can just enjoy it and relax. Hike 10 miles if you want, or just 5 miles. There's a number of times I came up to beautiful campsites, right on a lake or on a beautiful mountaintop, and I thought to myself, I would love to camp here. Then I would look and I said, oh, I've only done 5 miles. I can't stop here today. I would like to be able to know that I could go on these trails and say, hey, if I want to stop here tonight, I can stop here. And so, yes, I would do another trail, PCT in particular, the Colorado Trail. Those are 2, and the John Muir that I definitely want to do.
Cool. Part of Tiffany's, I think you covered. Actually, this part I don't think you did. What did you miss the most?
Food.
Okay.
Food.
Not me.
I miss Kelly and the dogs too. Kelly, the dog, and the kids. But to be perfectly honest, all you think about on the trail is food. 100% of the time, all day, every day, you're just thinking of food and what you're going to eat when you get to town, what you're going to drink when you get to town. You cannot get enough food, and so your mind is just tunnel vision for food.
That's me on the right.
You're thinking of pizza, you're thinking of cheeseburgers, you're thinking of lobster, you're thinking of every food commercial you see on TV. You turn your phone on, and every advertisement is somebody's posting food pictures or something. Like, oh, that looks so good, and I can't have it. You almost feel like you're deprived of you can't have this stuff. So food is the biggest part, and also I would say for me it's family. Really, really hard being away from your family. If you're single or young, definitely do the trail because it's a lot easier.
If you don't like your family.
Yeah. But you miss family a lot, not being able to be there for special events. I missed 2 of the kids' birthdays, 4th of July, and that's really, really tough on the trail. Tyler got married. Engaged, I should say. He got engaged on trail, and I missed the proposal. And things like that you can't get back in life. So I think that's important to take into consideration before you consider doing a trail like this, is you're going to miss some important things in your life you can't ever get back. And so your family and food are probably the top 2 things I would say I missed.
Awesome. And I think you kind of answered. You said your biggest motivation was the people cheering you on, right?
Yeah, and she also.
And she said most valuable asset you took away from the adventure was that you're proving.
I think that proving to myself that I can do it, but also the trail changes you in ways you never thought would happen. You become a better person, if you will. You become more giving because people give to you on the trail. You get so much trail magic. People just come out of their way and just out of the goodness of their hearts offer you literally the shirt off their back. They'll offer you their clothes. They just, like one guy in town offered to give me his own personal belt because I didn't have a belt at that time. The generosity of people just blows your mind. You can't imagine how somebody could do stuff like that for you. Just out of the goodness of their heart, you come across these trails and you're just worn out, you're tired, and there's a guy cooking hamburgers for you on the trail, just free of charge, and sodas and chips and candy, all kinds of stuff, and it just brightens your whole day. And so that aspect of the trail really adds to your adventure. It just makes you want to be a better person, and when you get off the trail, you want to go give back to people, and because you got given to you.
You should tell him about that guy that bought you breakfast, the older guy that gave you a ride.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's on here on Facebook too. Robert Green, if you're on here, thank you, buddy. I met him in, I forgot what state it was you live in now. North Carolina, I think it was, or Tennessee, I forget. Came across this road crossing, and I knew there was a barbecue restaurant down the street, and I was going to go there. And he picked me up, took me to the barbecue restaurant, also bought me dinner at the restaurant, had dinner with me, and then drove me back to the trailhead. And so that was really, really special. People do stuff like that for you all the time, and you just can't get enough of it. You can't say thank you enough to these people. Kindness is mind-blowing.
He's the one that offered his belt, right? Or is that
No, that's
someone
different.
else?
That's a
Oh,
different
okay.
person.
Okay. Samantha Riggs wants to know how many miles did you average a day?
My goal was 15 miles a day. Every day, 15 miles a day minimum. Most days I would try to push it up to 20, 18, 17 at least. But 15 was like my absolute minimum. Now, there are some days I didn't do that much. Like when I was going into town, sometimes those might be 4 or 5 mile days. But typically an average day, 15 miles a day.
And then going back to the survival gear, Misha said for Brody, the Garmin has been the biggest asset for him because she's able to communicate with him when he didn't even have cell service for some days. Tiffany wants to know, do you feel that you have a new appreciation for anything specifically?
Yes, you have appreciation for life in general because when you're on the trail, you're deprived of food. You don't have a bed to sleep in. You don't have a toilet to go to the bathroom in. You don't have your family with you. You're all alone. So all those things you really miss and you just crave being with your family, just having a house to come to, having water to drink from the faucet. I mean, all that stuff is just things you really, really enjoy when you get off a trail that you just take for granted, everyday stuff. And also, you realize how much you don't need in life. All the stuff that you have here at the house, you don't need it all. Learning the trail, you learn to get by with what you have because what you have on your back is all you need. You have your place to sleep, you have your food and water, and that's it. That's really all you need in life. But here in the real world, we have all these necessities and things, and you become dependent on those things. And I think it's important when you get on the trail to realize that you don't have to have those things in life to be happy. As long as you got your health and your family and food and water and a place to live, that's all you need. We should be thankful for that. So I took that away from this trail as well.
Good. Linda, your cousin Linda wants to know, what kind of boots or shoes do you recommend?
I don't recommend boots, honestly. I recommend running trail runners. That's what 90% of people wear on the trail. Trail runners because they're lightweight, they're more comfortable. It's like regular tennis shoes. It has good grip on them. If you have ankle problems, I would definitely say get some boots or wear boots. But if you don't have any ankle problems, just wear trail runners. They're so much more comfortable. And they dry 10 times quicker too than boots.
Do you remember the brand you had? Is that what the
I
brand
wore
is?
New Balance trail runners. That's what I wore. But there's ones called Ultras you can wear. There's Hokas. A lot of people wear Hokas on the trail. And they wear Birdie has Oboes, the boots he just bought. He says they're pretty comfortable. He had the New Balance shoes for a while, but I think they hurt his feet, if I'm not mistaken. So I would definitely say trail runners if you can get those. And also, everybody's different. So if you're going to go do any kind of hiking, try some different shoes out before you go. I recommend going to REI, especially buy any of your gear from them because they have a 1-year warranty on all their products. You can take any of their products, no matter what it is, try it out. If you don't like it, we have one for you to return it. So either tennis shoes, you say, I like these shoes, but oh my goodness, I wore them on a hike and they killed my feet. Take them right back and they'll get a new pair for you. Switch it out. That's what's great about this company.
And I think you went through 2 pairs of shoes, right?
Just 2. Some people went through 5 pairs of shoes. I think Birdie went through 3, I think it was. You're on the 3rd pair, Birdie? Or 2nd? I'm not sure.
I'll see what comments when we catch up to him there. So Amanda says that her family kept track with you. Her mom and dad especially. She's very impressed. Incredible feat.
So Brother Clyde, Miss Becky, I said hi. I haven't seen them in forever. Miss you guys.
Ken and Kelly are watching. They're a huge encouragement.
Yes, huge supporters of us on the trail. I can't thank you guys enough for what you've done.
Brody says Massachusetts. Was that a favorite? Or
Massachusetts was beautiful. Yes, that was where the, if I'm not mistaken, Shenandoah Valley was, if I'm not mistaken.
Miss Nancy Burdett is watching. Hi, Miss Nancy.
Hello.
Birdie says definitely not flat.
Yes.
I'm guessing he's talking about Virginia.
Yes.
Tiffany just asked a question, Lancaster, about how many shoes did you go through? So
Just 2 pairs for me, but most people went through 4 or 5.
Good question from Kelly. She says, how much weight did you lose?
I lost over 40-something pounds. I was 183 when I started. My last weigh-in before I went through the 100-mile wilderness was at Shaw's Hostel, and it was like 137, 138 on the little It was hard to tell exactly. It's one of the medical scales where it goes in between. But so whatever that is, that's a lot of weight. My high school weight was 142, so I'm less than my high school weight, which is hard to believe.
That's why he looks like a child now.
None of my clothes fit anymore. All my pants and shorts, I have to wear a belt with them because I can't even fit in them.
Jonathan Cowell says you did awesome.
Thank you, John.
And remember, you said you could ask any questions.
Yeah.
Misha wants to know, how much did it cost on trail total? I don't know if we have that broken out by just on trail.
We figured out roughly around $7,000, I think is what we figured out. Every hostel you stay at costs between $20 in the south, and it gets more expensive up north. Typically about maybe $35 per night at a hostel. I want to say I stayed at hostels maybe 10 or 15 times. I don't know total. I don't know. I have to go back and look.
I had it all written down, but I don't remember.
As far as resupplies, we spent about anywhere from $50 on the low end up to $100 for resupplies every week, basically, right? And so it depends, and you can adjust that or not, whether if you eat the same thing. One guy on trail ate ramen noodles every single day and tuna fish and stuff, and so his resupply was always the same. So if you can eat really cheap and do it that way, you can do it on a lesser budget, but it's really tough. There are some people who do what's called platinum glazing, and that's where you do the high end of everything. You stay in motels every time, you go to every hostel, you eat really well, and that can be really expensive. You can spend up to $15,000-$20,000 on the trail if you want, if you really want to go out that much. There's a guy, I'm not going to mention his name on trail, but he went to town, and just in one town, he spent $500 on his alcohol tab alone. For one place, one town. And the bad thing was he used the credit card that his wife has access to. And she got the bill and was like, "You spent $500 on alcohol on one stop?" And he said she was really, really mad at him for doing that.
Fortunately, you didn't do anything like that.
Yeah, no, I don't do anything like that.
And
so I don't even drink anyway. But if you do drink, that's going to, like him, he spent double what you spend, yes.
How much did you spend before the trail? Supplies. It was like $1,500, I think.
Oh, just on gear?
Yeah. So
gear, roughly about $1,500 on gear, I would say.
And that's included in that $7,000 estimate
yes.
that we have. So, and that includes that $7,000 included, like, we spent $600 in Georgia. Like, we stayed the night in a hotel. We went out to eat. You got a few resupply, supplied stuff before you started. So that's included in all that too.
And it can definitely go up or down. It depends on how frugal you want to be or how lavish you want to be.
All right, so Jared wants to know, a question for us both. How did you cope being away from each other for so long?
A lot of texting and calling. I would call Kelly whenever I had service, which typically was most every day. Sometimes I wouldn't get service for 2 days, but typically every day I would call her at some point. Usually on a mountaintop, I'd say, "Hey, I'm on a mountain, I got a service." I'd call you and see what you're doing. And we would chit-chat, we would text, and I got to see her in Damascus for 2 days, was it? 2 days in Damascus, but then we were apart since, what month was it, May? From May to September, I didn't get a chance to see her, so that was really tough, that long of a span. That's the longest we've ever been apart. But it was really nice getting a chance to spend a whole week with her in Maine and just explore being together. And that's another thing you take appreciation for, is how much you miss your loved ones and how important they are to you in your life. And you just really long to be with them, just even going to the store or just hanging out on the couch, things like that you crave, just being with that person.
Yeah, and I think for me, of course, I always think worst case scenario. So if I didn't hear from you for 2 days, then in my mind, I'm starting to plan your funeral. Yeah. Who's going to speak? What pictures are we going to show? Like, I that's where my mind would go dark really fast. But, we've been married 25, 26 years, somewhere
26,
in there.
I think it's this year, 26.
Yeah, so this was, it's an interesting way to reconnect in a different way. You're not connected in the help me carry the groceries in or go to the store for me, but it's that you're reconnecting by having conversation and, looking forward to talking to them again and stuff instead of, the normal, "Oh my gosh, you have to breathe so loud," like that kind of like petty stuff. So yeah, I think both ways you realize what you miss about each other. And then, I think about people whose families are in the military and they're away for months and months and months, and 6 months was tough. I don't recommend it, but I think we were strong enough in our relationship that we could handle it. So, Mike Harden says, congrats, man. I followed your adventures on the trail. Miss you, buddy. Hope all is well.
Yeah, Mike, and you got a new baby now, or had a baby, so congratulations on your new family.
Darren says, what's the worst food you ate on the trail?
I had on the trail this pack of tuna, and it was a, what was it, lemon pepper, or no, it was a ranch. It was lemon pepper or ranch flavored tuna packet, and it just was awful. And it wasn't very good flavor, so that was one of the things that was really awful on trail. And also I got these ramen noodles. There's a company that makes Japanese ones. It's a really, really good flavor. And I bought this one particular package hoping it was going to be good because the other ones were delicious. So I got this one on trail and I'm excited. It's freezing cold out. I want a hot meal. Everybody else is sitting around the fire and eating their food. So I open up my ramen noodles, cook my noodles, dump in the 2 sauce packets. I go to take a bite and it's burning hot. I don't like hot stuff at all. And this thing is like super spicy. I couldn't even eat this stuff. I had to throw it out. So that probably is about the worst. That tuna packet that I had and that hot ramen noodles.
Nancy wants to know, did anything surprise you when you got back in current events? Like when she went to basic training, she totally missed that Waco happened. It was years later when she found out. Was there anything like that for you?
A little bit, but I always had Facebook here and there. I had service. I always wanted to keep up a little bit, but some of the political stuff that was going on as far as like the Joe Biden stuff that happened and recently and that Darren talked about on his podcast, I didn't know anything about that. But for the most part, I had Facebook every now and then. So it didn't miss too much, I would say.
Okay. Bill Lancaster, what did you learn about God on the trail?
Oh, a whole bunch. Believe it or not, I felt I got closer to God on the trail because you have the whole day just to pray and talk to God. Nothing else to do but just hike. And especially on those long climbs and you're really stressed out and thinking, how am I going to get up this stupid thing? It really, really helps you just focus because you're talking to God the whole time as opposed to worrying about the trail. And it really, really got me through being able just to pray all day long. And when you pray, you can go into deeper prayer, I would say, because you go into more detail. Because when you're in the real world, you can only just pray for a certain time because you're always in a rush. But out there, you don't have any time frames. It's just you and God, and you're 6-8 hours a day. You can just sit there and pray. You can detail about this and that, and Kelly's family, my family, just really go into detail, and I really enjoyed that part of it.
Leslie wants to know, so you hurt yourself at home, laugh out loud. How many times did you hurt yourself on the trail? You might be better off in the woods.
Hurt myself. Well, I had one time I was pulling my tent stakes out and I sliced my finger on the tent stakes because I had hammered it into a piece of wood and it wouldn't come out, and I pulled and it sliced my finger open. That's one injury I got. And then I had shin splints really bad. It took me off the trail for a week. And then I fell once, tripped over a rock and went head over heels, and with the weight of my pack, it just made you roll. Fell once there. I fell probably 10 times total. I fell another time about a week or two ago. Slipped and fell backwards, hit my head on a log, and then rolled down into a ditch.
Oh my word. Leslie is not safe for anywhere.
So,
he needs to be bubble wrapped.
There's no safe place in the trail, and I was climbing the Katad and I slipped on an icy rock and busted my shin on a rock. My shin is still swollen to this day from it.
So your tailbone is hurting you. We don't know what that's
about. I don't know why it's hurting, but there's no way to go through the trail injury-free, I don't believe.
Yeah, we just saw a video of that poor lady, too, that busted her head.
She just fell and split her head open. Some old lady.
Really, really bad. She looked pretty young to me. Brody did say he's gone through 2 pairs of shoes so far, and he's got New Balance and Obos.
Obos, yes, his new boots he got. He got those in New York.
Nicole wants to know what was your trail name?
My trail name was Rhino, R-H-I-N-O. I got that name. Actually, I picked it out myself, believe it or not. Most people don't do that. You get your trail name, or you earn it, I should say, for doing something stupid or something weird. But my grandpa always called me Rhino growing up, and so I wanted that trail name, and so I kind of gave it to myself, and since day one, that's what I was called.
You're kind of salty Rhino to start.
Started salty Rhino. I kind of dropped the salty because it was just too long. Rhino was easier.
That goes with your name, too.
But a lot of people had some unique names. Just to give you an example, this girl named Flip, I think she was like 18 years old. She flipped head over heels and a big old gash on her shin, so she got the nickname Flip. Um, Brody got his trail named Floridian Jones. We were at a shelter, and he had this big old hat on to keep the sun off of him. He looked like Indiana Jones, so they called him Floridian Jones. And the guy Lego I was hiking with got his name because he had like a little Lego figure on his back, and so he got the name Lego. And so you earn it different ways, or you can pick your own, which most people don't, but I did.
We were newbies at the time.
Yes.
So just need to have that part done. Tiffany says, very proud of you, Ryan. Thanks for openly sharing your experiences and giving us all such great insight to an amazing life experience.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Angela wants to say, so proud. Is any more trail magic stories?
I haven't had trail magic in a long time. The last trail magic I had was at that church we went to in Maine. They took us out on the lake and cooked us dinner and took us to the grocery store and brought us back to trail. But other than that, that was the last trail magic I had. But
you had trail magic from people you know too since then.
Yes, people I know gave me trail magic when I got back, or right at the end of my trail, I should say. Gave me money through Zelle and said, "Here, I want you to enjoy this on trail." And they wanted to remain anonymous, so I didn't say anything about that. But I really enjoy the trail magic. That's one of my favorite parts about the trail, that people just go out of their way to do this for people. It's just mind-blowing, the stuff they put their money into just for hikers.
Yeah.
And the best cost, and some of the stuff they spend, I'm guaranteeing $300 or $400 or more to buy all this stuff. Some people do a real lavish spread. It's amazing what they put out there.
Brother Watkins says, suspenders, brother.
Yes, I need some suspenders. I really could use some.
Kelly wants to know, what food will you never eat again?
I wouldn't say no one never eat it again, but tuna fish, I'm going to say I'm going to hold off for a while. I eat tuna fish literally probably 4 or 5 times a week, except some days I would have a chicken packet or pulled pork if it was available. But most time, every store you go to would always have tuna, so I always had tuna packets with me. So tuna packets are one I'm going to not have for a while. We have some in the cabinet right now and there, but I'm not eating it for a while.
Good, because that's my spicy tuna.
Yeah. But everything else I would eat again. Mashed potatoes, I'm fine with eating those again because I eat those once a week anyway. But it does get old on trail eating the same thing. Ramen noodles, I don't really care to eat those right now. I ate so much of those. That's really all I can think of. Because donuts, I still eat those every day.
Chris, were you going to say something?
No.
Okay, Chris wants to know, how did you feel on the day your summit for Katahdin in the weather?
A little story about this. When I went to Katahdin, it was 6 in the morning. I was the first person up the mountain. I wanted to hurry up and get it done. I was over this trail. I wanted to be finished. And so when I got up to the top, or on the top, I was 2.3 miles from the top. And I got up over that first rock climb, and a wind blew me like this, and I almost fell over. I was like, oh my goodness, this is dangerous. I might should turn around and go back down. And I pulled my phone out, looked at my phone, and I said, man, I'm 2.3 miles from the top. I can't quit now. Man, I'm so close. I don't want to quit. I'm thinking to myself, and what am I going to do? Do I turn around? Do I stop? I look behind me, and there's 3 other guys coming up the mountain. They came up the mountain because they knew I was up there. They said, hey, somebody else is already up the mountain. If he can do it, we can do it. So they were coming up because I was already up there. And I seen them guys coming up the mountain. And I said, well, if they're going to come up, I can go up. And so we kind of motivated each other to climb. And so I started going up the mountain, and we're coming up the mountain, and my fingers are completely numb. Can't hardly move my hand. I couldn't unbutton my jacket or anything. My hands are so cold and numb. They're wet from the wind and the ice and snow. When I finally got that sign, I started tearing up because this journey's finally coming to an end. I finally made it. It just, I don't know how to describe that feeling to you, but it's just the most amazing thing in the world, knowing that it's finally over. I did it. Feeling that you accomplished such great task, and it's just, I don't know how to describe it. I can't. It's just no words to. It's just an amazing feeling.
So Cheryl wants to know, how did you charge your phone?
I had 2 of these battery. Is there one right here? There was.
No.
I have 2 of these battery backups, and I can get 2 charges out of one of them. The other one I can get 3 charges. So about 5 total charges would charge my phone. And every day during the day, I would keep it on airplane mode so it didn't use up any battery. And at nighttime, I would turn it completely off. So pretty much one charge would last me close to 3 days. And usually every 3 to 5 days you're in town anyway, so it wasn't too big of a deal. I could have got by with just one, honestly, without carrying the extra weight.
Amy said it's the lemon peppers. The ranch was good. I haven't had the ranch. I like some of the lemon pepper stuff, but some of it tastes like cleaner. Brother Watkins says, after this major accomplishment, are you thinking of any new challenges, or are you just chilling for now?
I'm just chilling for now, going back to work, and just going back into regular life, I guess you would say.
Let's see. Savannah says, what kind of water filter did you use? And also, you've inspired me to do this.
Awesome. So water filters, there's several choices you can go with. There's one called the Be Free. There's one called the Catadine, but 90% of the people on trail use what's called a Sawyer squeeze. It's like a little, thinking about this big. It's a blue filter. It screws on the end of a water bottle, a smart water bottle. And so you can just usually fill your bottle in the creek, screw the filter on, and drink right from it, or just squeeze out into another bottle. So you always have one bottle with empty or dirty water, one bottle with clean. But Sawyer squeeze is the way to go. I think they're about 50 to 60 bucks for them, but they're good for, I think, 10,000 gallons. So it'll last you several through hikes if you want to do it. If you want to do this, let me know. I'll help you with any gear you want or any questions you have, or help you along the way. It's a tough journey, but I know you can do it. No question about it. It is doable. It's just tough. And as long as you have the right mental thing going into it, you'll be fine.
Chris Brewer, I don't know what this means. I was one of the three, brother.
Yeah, he was one up there. He was one of the three.
Oh, on the mountain.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yes. Awesome. Congratulations, Chris.
Yeah, it was a rough climb up there with all that weather, but we made it through. We touched the sign together and conquered that mountain.
Trisha says, so proud of you, and you inspired me to challenge myself and others on my page to reach our goals and check in with each other using videos. You're a hero, man.
Thank you, Trisha.
Cindy wants to know, what kind of scary wildlife did you encounter?
Scary wildlife, I wouldn't say any. Well, some people would, I guess, but I look for the rattlesnakes. Most people were afraid to see them. I was hoping to see them every day.
Well, you saw bears.
I saw some bears. I haven't got that yet.
Snakes.
But the snakes would be the scary part, because they're, especially in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, for some reason, is full of rattlesnakes. And you're going over tons of rocks, and these snakes love to hide in these rocks. And there's copperheads and rattlesnakes, and a lot of them. And all I saw were rattlesnakes. I didn't see any copperheads, but a lot of people did see them. But that would probably be the scariest ones, because that's right where you step out with your feet and you have a chance of getting bit. I didn't see a lot of bears. I saw 5 bears, but I wouldn't say the bears are any kind of, they're like a big raccoon. They're more scared of you than anything. They don't pay any attention. They don't really want to hurt you, I don't think. I've never had any issues with them. But I say the snakes would probably be the scariest, because you can't see them and you walk with them all the time. Several people in their posts I've seen, they said they almost even sat on some of them. They were so close.
All right, we have about 2 more pages of questions that were other random questions. Brody wants to know if you saw a moose. Let's try to get through these in like 10 minutes.
Okay, didn't see no moose at all. We drove up to North Maine, tried to see some, and didn't even see any up there. We went to Caribou, Maine, which has the highest concentration of moose. Didn't see any, so no luck.
We're not very good moose hunters. We did see some dead moose in the back of people's trucks because it was hunting season. That's kind of what drove the moose inland, and they said best time to see them, I think, was like June. Is that right?
Yeah.
They come out. Did you brush your teeth on the trail?
Yes.
How?
Every day you always brush your teeth, and matter of fact, I eat a lot of beef jerky, and so the beef jerky gets stuck in my teeth. So I actually floss a lot too, believe it or not.
How often did you poop on the trail?
Every single day, almost every day.
Did you bury your poop?
Not always, because sometimes on the trail you're trying to dig a hole and it's full of rocks, it's full of stumps and stuff, and you can't dig, and so sometimes you just do the best you can. Try to cover it up with rocks or sticks if you have to.
That's nasty. How many pairs of underwear did you pack?
Just 2. And I actually didn't even wear those anymore, because when you get hot and sweaty, they start riding up on you. So didn't quit wearing those. Went commando.
See, y'all, we said he was gonna get personal here. He's answered that. Did I ask you how often did you shower?
I tried, I should say, to shower every time I got to town, but sometimes you got to town, there was no place to shower. So the longest I went was almost a month without a shower. But really, once you get past like a couple weeks, you don't really notice anymore. Honestly, you don't. You just like you reach a certain stink level, if you will, and that's it. You kind of level out.
Gross. What did you do on your 0 days? And explain what a 0 day is.
A 0 day is where you do no hiking at all. 0 hiking. A Nero day is where you hike just a little bit and take the rest of the day off. So that's what those are. But a 0 day, um, I would usually just relax. But the thing is, when you're in town, it's not really a 0 day because you have to get your resupply. You have to, in my case, have to upload the videos. You have to take your shower. You have to do your laundry. So all that stuff takes time. So it's not really like you have a full day just to do whatever. You have 3 or 4 hours you have to devote to this stuff. So it's nice if you have a day on trail where you can stay in your tent and do a 0, because then your tent's already set up. You can just stay there and relax on trail and do whatever.
If someone offered you $1 million, would you stay on the trail and hike south right after you finished?
Not a chance.
Okay.
Not for $1 million.
Okay.
It's not worth it for me.
Scariest thing that happened on the trail?
The scariest thing that happened on trail was when I was in that flash flood. I woke up in the middle of the night and the water was inside my tent. There was a river running outside my tent. And by the time the morning came, I had to hike out in it. It was up to waist deep water. Couldn't find the trail. I had to hike 17 miles. I was freezing cold. It was 50 degrees out. So that was my scariest time on trail.
Amy says she was dying to know about underwear. Haley said I would pack 50 pairs and vacuum seal them down so they wouldn't take up much room.
I don't know about the women, but I know the men, most of them just have like 1 or 2 pairs that they bring with them. Like usually like those boxer brief type, what you call the material, like my shirt, what's it made of?
I don't know what it's called.
So
Ken says, you helped me build a large double bunk bed for my grandkids right before you left, and there was only a little left that I had to finish. And my wife kept telling me you were going to finish the entire Appalachian Trail before I got it done. I finished it, but I sure am glad you're back because there's always more work to do.
I'm glad you got it put together. That was a fun project to work on with you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. You and your family are amazing.
What's the weirdest person or thing that happened? You got 5 minutes.
What is it?
Weirdest person or thing that happened on the trail?
Weirdest thing or person. There was a guy at one of the shelters. He was an insane guy or homeless or not all there. And he was threatening hikers. So one of the hikers, he came and cut his tent, threw stuff at him and calling them names. A lot of the law had to be called on this guy. They arrested him once, but they let him go. And so all the comments about this shelter, if you stay here, look out for this guy. And I stayed there at this shelter, and this lady in bed and breakfast showed up, and they were going to stay there too, but they didn't want to because I knew this crazy guy was in the area. I ended up sleeping there all by myself that night and never saw anything, but he was in the area. Other people said they'd seen him camping nearby. But that probably the craziest that ever happened.
Tiffany, yes, it was dry fit material. I think that's what we were talking about before.
Yes.
Chris, I'm going to answer this one. Do you plan on gaining all of your weight back? Yes, he does. He's got to catch back up to me.
I'm trying real fast.
Savannah wants to know, where'd you ship your food to? Like, how'd you get it in town?
You can ship it into town. If you get the Far Out app, there's different hostels or post office or places you can ship your food ahead to. I chose just to go in my town myself and pick my own food out and just do my resupply as I needed it. That's the best way, I think.
You don't know what you're going to want,
exactly.
3 months from now. And
if you're one of those type of people that you eat ramen and tuna fish every single day, do the resupply that way. It's probably better. But then again, you have to work around the time the post office are closed and certain time schedules. You have to be here by this certain date. But I think getting it yourself is the best way to go, though.
Yeah, we didn't want to be limited to like a schedule. Like one time I sent his shoes. I didn't know where he was going to be. And so Misha and I were talking, trying to figure out where he and Brody were going to be so that we could get the shoes sent. We sent the shoes, but then they had already picked up at that place that I dropped them off for that day. So he had to wait an extra 2 days for the shoes. And so that's kind of aggravating. You have such a tight window, and then, any type of shipping delay or it doesn't get picked up. The place doesn't deliver on Saturdays. He had to wait till a Monday to get it. All that kind of stuff you can't account for, and it can affect how long you have to stay. So that's why it worked best for us not to do that.
Yeah.
LME wants to know, were you ever scared?
Yes, several times I'm sure I was scared. I would say the worst would be when I was climbing Mount Katahdin, because the weather really freaked me out up there, how windy and cold it was. I've never been in weather like that before, and that was really scary. And also that night in the flood, that was really scary. And hiking at night freaked me out because there's as Birdie can tell you, when you hike at nighttime, you see all these eyes in the woods. You look out, there's eyes over here. It could be bear, it could be deer. You have no idea. And I was camping one night, and I seen these eyes outside my tent. And the eyes would raise up and down, and I couldn't tell what it was, but it just stayed right outside the woods. I couldn't see what it was. It was kind of freaky.
So anything you took that you didn't need?
A knife. I didn't need the knife. I have a selfie stick. I took a selfie stick that I completely did not need. My poop shovel didn't really need that. I used it a couple times. My bear bag, I didn't need that because I never hung a bear bag. Should have, but I didn't. I slept with my food. That's a no-no, but I did.
Anything that you didn't take that you wish you would have? Yeah, hiking at night is terrifying, and at least when you're alone.
Yes. What would I've? I'm trying to think what I would have brought. I wish I had. Oh, one thing I definitely wish I would have had was an MP3 player or something to listen to music or a podcast or a book or something while I was out there, because it's boring when you're just hiking all by yourself sometimes, no one to talk to. So a book or music or something makes the day go by a lot faster. So MP3 player or something along those lines.
Are you going to start doing your cooking videos again?
Yes. Matter of fact, this next week coming up, I'm doing a video. I'll tell you what it is. Matter of fact, I'm doing a blueberry cake with cream cheese icing. It's going to be a sponge cake with blueberry compote inside with cream cheese icing. So that video is going to be coming up really soon. So pay attention.
Lisa wants to know, did you ever get bitten by any insects or anything else?
Just a couple mosquito bites. Really, some people, we look at their legs and they were like just ate up with mosquitoes and bugs. Just me. I bet maybe 5 or 6 bites the whole trail, if that.
It's probably because you're so stinky.
Probably. I only had
soap or lotions.
2 ticks the whole trail. That was it, 2 ticks. Not very many. I think because I'm from Florida, we have worse bugs here than they do, so they didn't really. I was used to it, I guess.
Yeah. What did you do for entertainment on the trail?
For entertainment, I would download Netflix movies and watch them on my phone in my tent sometimes, but you had to be careful. I don't want to run my battery down, so I don't usually only do that right before I went into town, so I had to make sure I had battery when I was finished. But that's pretty much all I did, or just hang out with other hikers and talk to them. That's my main entertainment right there. You sit outside the fire or outside the shelter and just talk and find out about their day, where they're from, what's the plan tomorrow, what you like, what you didn't like.
Last question from the list of people that asked before, how many followers do you have on YouTube?
I think at last check, I think it's 134, something like that.
Okay, and then Michelle, yes, he did get his Krispy Kreme. He actually got him at church the next day. He was kind of donated out from all the donuts he ate at the airport. Ken answered, yes, he lost 40 pounds-ish, a little bit over. Misha wants to know, did you get any poison ivy?
I'm not allergic to poison ivy, so I don't get it. I can take it, rub it on my body. It doesn't affect me at all. So never got poison ivy. I did have something on my leg, though. There was like a sticky thing that got on there, and it gave me like a little bit of a rash, but within a week it was gone. Didn't put nothing on, it just healed by itself. So
I think that's all our questions, and we did it in just over an hour.
Yeah, anybody else have any other questions? We're glad to answer them. We'll stay in there for a few minutes and see if anybody has anything else they want to ask. But I'm looking forward to doing some hikes around Central Florida with me and the dogs, and just go out and hang out. And hello, Emma. It's good to see you. Yes, I'm glad I made it. I'm glad you made it as well. You were there with me on that very first night on day 1.
Oh, you should talk about the 2 ladies that encouraged you.
Yes, one lady that really encouraged me name was One Half. She's a section hiker. She really encouraged me back in Georgia to keep going and really helped me on those early days in the trail.
What she actually gave you some advice on like what to do, because you were like kind of panicking a little bit, like.
Yeah, I would see other people go up the trail and they're just making it look effortless, and I was wondering how in the world are they able to climb like this, and I just can't do it. Is it just me? I'm always just out of breath. I can't catch my breath. My heart was racing out of my chest, and she told me just take your time. Look, just stop. When your heart's racing, just try to step like this and show me how to walk and how to do it without getting overexerted. And that really helped me along in those early days in Georgia. Without her help, honestly, I probably would have quit.
Yeah. Was Wick one of the ones that gave you advice too?
Yes. Wick was the lady who gave me some advice. She told me to just go really slow on these uphills. I was just trying to hurry and push through them, get them over with, but by doing a her way, just going really, really small, baby steps, taking your time, just real slow, progressive motion, and I was able to do it because of her help.
Michelle, did you ever think about quitting, and did you know you'd have this many followers?
No, I really just did this for myself, basically, to have something to look back on, and for family, just to have like a video log of it. But I had no idea it would ever get this many followers or people curious about it.
Tina says hi.
Hey, Tina.
Sherry says, way to go, Ryan. Proud of you. What an accomplishment.
Thank you, Sherry.
Misha says, thank you for everything, all of your advice and help for Brody. You were instrumental in making this possible for him. We love you.
I enjoyed hiking with him. I hope he finishes strong. I know he will. And
hopefully he gets better soon.
Yes.
Is she saying Hillflower and Honey? Is that their trail names?
Oh, yes. Hillflower and Honey. Yes, they had the dog Beef Jerky.
That's
their dog's name was Beef Jerky. That was his
Cute.
trail name.
And then Lisa says, thank you for taking the time to make and post videos. I feel like I did AT vicariously through you. Yes, me too. I didn't have to hike it. Haley, do the dogs miss you like the videos of people who go away in the army and come back and the dog freaks out?
Yeah.
Did you post that?
I posted the very last video. If you watch the last video, you'll see where they welcomed me home, and they really freaked out. For like 5 minutes, they wouldn't stop licking me. And
I think you were more excited than the dogs.
yes, I was probably more hyper than they were.
I think he was hyping them up.
I cannot wait to see the dogs. That was my favorite thing. I was looking forward to getting home.
He's like, oh, I can't wait to see the dogs and the kids. Yes, and the kids. Wow, we should go ahead. Yeah.
What?
Say goodnight. Yeah.
Well, let's see if anyone else wants to say anything first. Okay. A few more minutes. You don't want to say anything else. I just want to say thank you so much, though, for everybody who's followed me and all the support you guys have given me and just keeping me going and following and being interested in this journey. It was such a hard thing to do, but I'm so glad I did it. So glad I was able to make it through and finish strong. You know, a little beef jerky.
Oh, cute. Stacy says, amazing trip. Lady in Georgia, so good to touch base with you all now. To meet in person.
Yes, one of these days I'll make it up there, Sally, to Kentucky, and give me an L8 and we can sit and chat and have a good time.
So Tiffany wants to know, for me, what did you feel like the biggest thing that I learned? I learned I still liked Ryan, so I missed him. And I think it is, I don't think people realize how hard it is for the people that are behind, because like your mind can't move on. Like this constant worry in the back of your mind. Are they still alive? Are they freezing? Are they lonely? Are they, what's going on? So it's like kind of like a constant distraction. And it's also, what I learned, is a lot more expensive than you think it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So we appreciate all the surprise trail magic and people that were contributing for the journey.
I'm going now.
And sorry, Rob's moving the table here. Amy, yes, he failed my test on what he had wished he had taken. I thought he would say family.
Yeah, definitely wish I had Kelly there with me or someone. It'd be a lot more enjoyable.
It would have been more fun, but I couldn't have done it. I couldn't even do the approach trail, like not even the first 2 miles.
Go back to Haley's comment.
Zip up here. Oh, guess how many people did you meet? Oh, how many people did you meet and become friends with?
Oh, a lot of people. Some of my favorite people on trail, though, believe it or not, I would have to say would be an older man and woman by the name of Bed and Breakfast. Really, just great people. They named Gumby, a great guy named Aldo, Lego, this girl named Ducky. Who else did I meet that's really important on trail? Skipper and Potato. These great people I met on trail. Just tons of people. I can't list them all, but there's tons of people. Just amazing friends, and just if the real world was like the hiker community, it'd be a much better place. I can tell you that right now.
Work on that. All right. I think I missed somebody here. Fred says, congratulations, Brian, on your amazing journey. Rob heard him talk about dogs, like, oh, you love me. Let me come see you right now. Misha says, yes, Kelly, sometimes the worry is awful. Misha and I commiserated quite a few times. Have you talked to them? Let's see. Angela says, woohoo. I could say my family member did it. And then Chris says, did you ever get hot Krispy Kreme donuts?
Not hot ones yet. The ones I did have were day old, but I did put them in the microwave. It's not the same, but...
Almost, yeah, not quite. Tina says, congratulations on your journey. Kelly says, congratulations again. We're
Thank
so
you.
proud.
Thank you.
Sherry, did you have a scary moment during the hike?
Scary moment.
You think you
Not
said that,
really, but some that really
Actually.
stand out would be the ones where it's sheer drop-offs. Some parts of the trail goes by sheer drop-offs, like 50, 60-foot cliffs, where the one hiker fell off this year. Near McAfee Knob, there are some places literally it's like a vertical drop-off, and the trail walks right beside it. And moments like that are pretty freaky.
I think 3 or 4 people died this year with someone from hypothermia and a
Yes.
couple, one drowned and 1 or 2 falls. So very scary. Amy wants to know, do you think you will send Trail Magic in the future?
Yes, we're already planning it. We're planning out a menu for this next April. We're going to go up and do Trail Magic in Georgia. So if you're going to be in Georgia on the trail next year, look for Trail Magic coming up soon.
Your Uncle Tim wants to know, will you walk daily now or hike now that you're in such good shape?
Not daily, but like one day this week, I'm going to take the dogs for a hike, maybe go out for a little bit, take them for a walk. But that's pretty much it, just around the house stuff. Nothing like I did up in the mountains, just out in Florida.
Haley wants to know, were there a lot of people, like hundreds, or just a couple that you made friends with?
I'd say less than 20 that I'd be really good friends with.
You saw a lot of people and passed a lot of people. You probably saw hundreds. Right?
Oh, yes. Thousands of people I saw.
But, like, you didn't connect with them. And that's the hard thing, like, you didn't expect because you don't walk at the same pace as people.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you might see them once and then you way outpace them or they way outpace you. So you made the connections with people who are more similarly paced with you.
Yeah.
Until your paths, separated. Sherry says, awesome. Linda says, our entire house enjoyed following your adventure. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, well, glad you guys got to follow along, and I'm going to have more videos coming up. So if you want to stay tuned, keep watching. So I guess I'll let you guys go for the night. Have a fantastic evening, and I will post more videos before you know it on YouTube. So if you're on the channel, keep following, and we'll see you on there. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.